Yeah, we're covered. We got some real quick, folks. Everybody who's out there, and I guess we can wait for a couple people to get in here. But if you are watching this on the BDG group, do me a favor. If you are if you know how to get to my page, share it to my page, share it to OAT. For some reason, both of those pages blocked this broadcast right now. So we are going live to my YouTube channel and to BDG right now, it looks like.
That's cool.
Which
Man, I'm sure somebody shared over there. You know, I think they did that to me too on StreamYard. They said it don't accept it no more. Refresh it. You know what I mean?
Here's the deal, man. If we make it and then we have to postpone it, like this show has been postponed for about 2.5 weeks. If we make this and move it to a different day, it blows their mind. They have no idea how to deal with it. Their computer shut down. The Whopper blows up. Everything gets insane. So I don't know. They didn't do any. They couldn't figure it out. But we're going to BDG. We're going to YouTube.
Not the Whopper blows up.
The Whopper.
The Whopper blows up. Yeah, I could just think of Conor McGregor. You know, that dude's catching the case, bro. Did you see that?
No, but that dude,
what's the mascot? The dude went to the doctor, man, had to get medication. You know the soup coming, baby.
Look, man, even if he didn't get hurt, I would have taken a dive too if Conor McGregor swung at me. Are you kidding me, man? Come on.
I'm just saying, what is he punching him for anyway? Like, what is this?
I think because he's partially insane.
That's what I'm saying. He got PTSD because he thinks he's about to get hit by the mascot, so he just like takes off. You know what I mean? No disrespect, RIP. You know what I mean?
That's crazy. He's a crazy dude.
Yeah,
he's a crazy dude. So we're bringing in a subject today that I got hit with here the last week or so. Let's get a couple people in here. Richard Calderon, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Good to see everybody popping in here. Again, if you're watching this, if you could do us a favor and share this to my Cannabis Cowboy Facebook page and OAT, either or if you like, that'd be awesome.
I can share it. I can share it in the OAT right now. Said I'm on the background. I could do that.
It's blocking us right now. They're just acting so wacky. Let me tell you,
BDG's blocking us.
BDG is one of those pages where if you decide to edit the time, it doesn't like it.
Oh, from the input. Oh, I got you.
Yeah, you have to go in there physically, like recreate it all. It's all.
No, we're live over there, bro. We're live over there.
Are we?
Yeah, I'm gonna share it to OAT and all that right now, and then I'll share it to you. You said share it to where?
To my Cannabis Cowboy page.
Bro.
Yeah.
Go with the show. I'll get the shares in. Everybody else can get the shares in.
Looking.
Everybody who's gonna be live earlier anyway, possibly.
BG over here sharing like he asked everybody to share, man.
Yeah, baby.
It is good to see. Good to see everybody.
Real.
So yeah, everybody knows in the YouTube world, sometimes you've got to have titles of your videos that sound a little bit catchy. This one in particular is not necessarily for a clickbait reason. That's not really how we roll. I'm seriously asking the question, are they taking away our medicine? Only reason I'm asking this is I went into my local dispensary, Good Chemistry, out here, the South Broadway location. Y'all hear me talk about it. I do strain spotlights for all the cannabis. They are a great company. Some of the best cannabis I've ever had in my life. And I walked in there and they asked me, hey, did you get the email? Because they noticed I put a medical cannabis order in. And I said, no, I did not get an email. I only get one or two different texts from you folks. And he was actually pretty upset right then and there. I got to say, I wish I remembered his name, but he was absolutely livid that I did not get this correspondence because he quote unquote said, I'm a legacy member of that dispensary, which I am. I've been there for 13 years before it was even called Good Chem. And he was freaking out that I didn't get it. But at any rate, he told me, well, medical cannabis is going away at Good Chemistry. And my jaw dropped because I had just started looking at their menu before I started compiling the cannabis I wanted to get on my order. And I noticed that there was only about 6 strains on the medical side. There was like 27 on the recreational side.
What?
So yeah, I kind of maybe sent off an alarm, but I showed up there and they explained to me, that it's going away, but there's some concessions they're going to make based on it. And to be honest, it's kind of one of those things where you've got to ask yourself, medical cannabis, for all intents and purposes, in a recreational dispensary is basically a punch card. That's really what it equates to. But the problem is the punch card side of the business has a bunch of different kind of inventory you've got to keep your head around. And that's a big pain in the ass, I'm sure, for the company. So you haven't noticed anything happening around your dispensaries, though, with anybody canceling medical, right?
No, it sounds like as one Sean Carter would say, politics as usual. No, none up here in Washington, none to that extent. I was really surprised when you told me that because as a veteran advocate for veterans, boo-hoo, that's bad news. Because if you're a card carrier, like most veterans should be in, states that, offer medical cannabis, you should be able to take advantage of that as an alternative to pain management, as opposed to the candy that you may receive from your current provider. But, maybe not good news. Maybe hopefully it's just a Colorado thing. I hope that doesn't carry out to the other states. I just think it's bad because it's happened right in one of the nucleus of both states that started the medical cannabis thing pilot to get this thing legalized where we're at now.
Well, Peter, is it Chiampi? I'm going to say it's Chiampi. Damn,
yeah.
I'm just saying.
He's Italian, bro. Yeah, he's top fan.
The half Italian in me is going with 3 different versions of that, and I just picked the first one. So at any rate, I think you hit something on the nose on that one. I'm about to read to you what the correspondence that I missed was sent out to the patient. So here it is. Dear patients, we have an important announcement to share with you. In our ongoing effort to provide the best patient experience possible, we spent the first part of this year reviewing the broader medical cannabis market. During the course of our internal and external research, we found that there are often several factors that put medical patients at a disadvantage when shopping on the medical side of our dispensary. For instance, many third-party brands do not hold a medical license, and therefore we are unable to carry those brands for medical patients. With that, I believe they're talking about tinctures, like oils, kind of like secondary stuff that's obvious, because obviously they supply all their own cannabis. They're talking about, I think, like the gummies and all these other things. That's a whole different SKU, a whole different inventory when you're talking about separating that from medical from recreational. So I think that's what they're talking about there. They go on to say, over the years, we've also seen the number of medical patients decrease dramatically, causing us to often have to waste products that have expired. We also find that there is less interaction between patients and our team of sales associates, given that we are required to limit medical sales to a specific terminal. So this is, if you listen to what I just said, it's basically store specific here, I think, and very company specific here, which again, that's where it starts, because they just want their customers to have an advantage. And they're kind of right in the fact that if you're going there for something besides flower, they might not necessarily have other brand stuff on the medical side because it's too tough for that to happen. The fact of the matter is that there is only usually one cash register open at the Broadway store compared to, I think, 2 recreational ones. I've never found that to be a problem, but I'm a super patient person who's been in food service for like 35 years. So I'm sure the average patient might actually say to themselves, I'm waiting too long, or I'm not having the one-on-one interaction that I want. But regardless, the other part of that they mentioned is the waste product. And again, I think that's right. I think if you've got a specific number of patients you think that are going to come shop on the medical side, since you can't sell medical cannabis at all on the recreational side, you got to throw it away when it's expired.
That's wild. I didn't even think of that. I forgot that, 2 different inventories. Yeah. Like, now I totally get it. Like, it's a scale up opportunity for them to not have it, because if you already are complaining that there's not enough market there, and then you've got inventory expiring, like, it makes sense. Totally CENTS for a business or dispensary. I get it, but it's just bad news. I hope it's just a local trend there. I hope that doesn't, next time I go into a dispensary up here, I'm going to ask them if they heard anything like that, and maybe, try to start up a conversation around. Maybe I should talk to some other people around that around here. But I mean, I couldn't find any research. I did some pretty good research yesterday, I think a couple of hours, and didn't find anything. And I was glad, because I was like, wow, I hope I don't find this trend going on up here too as well, because that's going to mean one thing. If you don't know, both Colorado and Washington State were part of the big green rush when the whole medical cannabis was voted into law as the 2, what I want to say, the mice rats, what do they call them? The medical rats, to kind of throw them out there, see if it's going to work, the scientific. Yeah. But now it's gone, to where, I don't know, 20 something plus 30 plus something states are legal now. But, it's going to make sense for the dispensaries to not have it. So I hope that places like Planet 13 out in Las Vegas that honor that type of stuff, they don't get involved with that type of stuff. But that sucks for veterans out there in Colorado right now in your area if the dispensary closest to them is losing their program and now they got to travel X amount of miles just to go get their medication.
Well, here's the deal there. And again, I said the same thing. So I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, if you're finding the medical side of this cannabis not lucrative, what's going to happen when you lose a bunch of medical patients? And I believe any smart business is going to figure that out before they decide to make that kind of decision. And that's exactly what Good Chemistry has done. So they go on to say, our solution to these issues, rather than offering a more limited medical menu, which when I saw the small amount of cannabis they had on medical,
strange, you said?
I was kind of pissed. Yeah, I was a little pissed. Rather than offering a more limited medical menu and experience, we are going to offer medical patients the opportunity to shop on the recreational side of our dispensary, providing you with access to much more of the menu products at a more affordable price. Beginning July 1st, 2023, we will provide a 20% discount on all purchases to anyone who hold a medical card that choose to shop at the Highlands dispensary. And then it says that the solution will then be offered at Broadway and Colfax beginning August and September, respectively. During this transition, we will be offering significant price promotions on select sets of medical products, starting with a buy one, get one 50% off on dry sift and Good Chemistry concentrates. Keep your eyes peeled. Ultimately, we believe this provides for a much broader range of product options, better pricing, and an overall enhanced medical patient experience. We understand you may have questions about this transition. Our knowledgeable staff is here to assist you and provide any information you may need. We remain dedicated to your well-being and satisfaction as our valued customer. Thank you for being part of the Good Chemistry community. We appreciate your support and look forward to serving you with the same dedication, commitment, and quality you've come to expect from us. So there, not really a big deal. So I didn't want to crunch the numbers, but when I say to myself, why am I still a medical patient? There's two things that I'm a medical patient because of. One of them is because I am totally down with paying less money. I walk out of that dispensary with like an ounce for 108 as opposed to like 130 on the recreational side.
But I
like that.
You can walk out with multiple ounces too, right? With a card.
I can walk out with 2 ounces at a time as opposed to 1, which again, that now that you just said that shit didn't even click in my head that now my limit is going to go down.
Yeah, because if you're forced to buy the recreational price, you're only gonna get an ounce a day.
I'm only gonna get an ounce
whatever
a day,
the local law is there of the state.
Which is still a lot of weed, man. So you know what I mean? But here's the deal. So I said to myself, well, how much am I paying for my license? I'm going to go visit my doctor, the cannabis doctor, Dr. Cohen, which has been amazing for me for the last 10 so years. I'll go and pay that doctor, I think $70. And then in order to send the application off to the state, that's like another 50 or something like that. So that's $170 I've spent to put into a bank to hopefully save on taxes up to that point. Now, I have to make a lot of purchases to save that amount of money. I'd say I'd probably have to get about 8 ounces, 9 ounces. I'm just doing math, and I'm a better speller than I am mathematician. But at this point, I think maybe it's probably not worth my while to have a medical card. And that's not even just because they're telling me that I can't shop medically. And it's honestly, I don't see the benefit of it anymore, especially considering I still have to go somewhere. I have to go to downtown Denver to get my license renewed every time I want to do that. I'd like to have a better way to do that, a video chat or something like that. But all that stuff's kind of gone to the wayside. But I also understand that medical cannabis in the Colorado state was very much a gateway to full legalization, which is what we have out here. And eventually that had to go away. That the medicals, it's got to go away because it's no longer, it doesn't need to be there anymore. It's almost like you're not really beating a dead horse, but you're proving a point that's already been proven by having the medical. And not to mention when you've got a dispensary that's separate, medical and recreational, that's 2 different inventory things. It's a big pain in the ass to have to manage all that inventory. I completely understand it. I stand by Good Chemistry and what they did, especially the fact that they're offering that discount. So you're going to get that tax break anyway with what they're selling you. So I think it's smart for the business. I think it's probably going to be better for everyone as a whole. There's going to be more at least one more register available to be able to have more people available, and I'll have access to all the menu all the time, because I did notice sometimes I could get a strain on medical that I couldn't on recreational and vice versa, but it was more so the other way around, where medical just wasn't. It didn't have some of the heat that I was looking for.
Yeah. Well, Peter Champy's tapping in, and sorry to cut you off, Bob, there, but
no, bring it.
I find this very interesting what Peter Champy has to say. He says, I let mine lapse with not being allowed to have a weapon if you have a medical card. Is that already being enforced out there in Maine? Is that what you're telling me? Because I've been seeing news on that about, folks that have cards or use of cannabis, you know what I mean? You won't have access to weapons. Are you hearing anything? Is that kind of like what goes on out there in Colorado, Bob? Or you know anything about that?
I'm going back to 2008 when some of my friends out here were saying, hey, Bob, why are you going to get a medical card? You're not going to be able to get a gun permit or concealed weapons. And I asked some professionals in the industry, and they said, well, what are you going to do? Are you going to tell the truth on both of those applications? Because if that's what you do, then yes, you might get yourself into a situation. But no one needs to know. The fact of the matter is this: if you're on a medical card, if you got a medical card, you're part of the medical world. You're sealed. That's
no, but there's some current politician, I think, and I don't mean to get on politics because I don't like any of the politics, to tell you the truth. But I think there's some uproar right about now about that trying to be pushed in some state. I can't remember where, if I'm not mistaken. But he brought that up. Peter Champy's a top fan over here on BDG, so appreciate you tuning in.
Yeah, no doubt.
I thought that was interesting that he brought that up. So
I would look harder into that.
Yeah, the medical patient, like, y'all tripping. Y'all trying to take away the benefits, and y'all just trying to take guns too. Like, come on, man.
It's just it's a scare tactic on both, really, if you think about that. And no one wants to hear that, and everyone wants to think that their side is very peaceful in thought processing, but it's not always like that. But I would definitely look, depending on where you are, Peter, whatever state you're in. I'm not sure. You said Maine, maybe. Look deeper into that law and talk to an attorney before you jump too far on that one, because at this point in the world, guns are everywhere and cannabis is everywhere. There's absolutely no reason for you not to have both licenses at the same time. It just doesn't make any sense. The state's going to be making money on licenses. Why would they deny anybody that? If you're smoking weed, you're not going to shoot somebody anyway, probably. You know what I mean? If they were selling meth.
You do drive safer, at least on weed, you drive safer than on alcohol anyway.
Look, man,
not to push any buttons here against any folks that like to drink. You know what I mean? I'll have a drink for a time or two, but
I never made a rash decision.
Nobody died from weed lately.
Well, yeah, exactly. But that's what I'm trying to say. I know that I think about the states out there that are recreationally legal right now. We're also very low on that. But when I think about those states, I say to myself, why bother having a medical program still? If it's really just a bunch of red tape, and unless you're going to a doctor that charges you only $10 and the state fee is only $10, dude, that would be amazing. But the fact of the matter is, the only people that are really making money in the medical cannabis community are the doctors prescribing you the license and the state that is giving you the ability to get on a registry. Those are the only people that are making money on it, because they have to sell it.
You know who I feel bad for, man?
Who's that?
The Texas, people in Texas, the Texans, not the Houston Texans, but the residents of Texas, because they just opened them dispensaries up there in Oklahoma. Oklahoma's booming. Business is booming in OKC without KD, no pun intended. But folks are driving up from Texas on I-35 to get flour at the consumer rate.
Watch yourself.
You spend all that money just to drive to get it, and you're getting essentially robbed at the counter.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they got a medical program in Texas where you can go up there and honor it, but they do obviously in Oklahoma now.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a minute, actually. I know some dude that's been growing out in Oklahoma for at least 10 years. And
do that, by the way, because that's illegal, when you buy product and bring it.
Don't do that.
Not legal. Yeah, so I'm not promoting that. But I'm just saying we know it's going on. Let's just keep it real.
Yeah, we can't lie about that. That's part of the industry, and it's part of what screws up good parts of the industry as well. But in terms of this medical thing, I get it. Like I was saying, the other part of this is that I've had a medical card consistently since 2008. And I guess there's a bit of pride. Maybe there's a little bit of nostalgia involved in that too, where maybe I was thinking I'm part of a very small exclusive club that continues to pay doctors fees in order to be on the medical thing. But really, when it came down to it, I was saying to myself, if I'm getting the same weed mostly on medical as I was on recreational, why am I going to pay recreational prices for that? It didn't make any sense to me. But at this point, business evolves. I tell you what, I tell you honestly, if it saves Good Chemistry from possibly shutting down stores by doing this, I'm totally down for that, because I don't give a shit what they're charging. I need this flower to stay the same, and it's been consistently the same for at least 13 years. So that's what I told them. Keep the weed the same, and you and I will continue to see each other's smiling faces every time I show up at this store.
And what's even crazier is, I mean, especially, for me, speaking from a veteran standpoint, for veterans, is that we have to pay for that medication. Now we're registered through the Department of Health. So I encourage you now, I don't know if this is going to be a trend or this is just a Colorado thing, but if you're a veteran and inside of a state that has a medical cannabis program and you have not considered it yet, I encourage you to go check it out. It is always great to have an alternative. It's good to have choices in life. You know what I mean? So I would encourage you to go take advantage of that, because maybe this may becomes a thing, but go out there, veterans, get your medical card so you can get registered with like the Department of Health. Because like I've traveled, y'all see me, I went to Florida. Florida doesn't honor out-of-state medical cards. You have to be a resident there. Yeah. So I went to Hawaii. You have to be there. You got to route a paper that's got to get approved. It takes 24 hours for you to be able to get in, because it's really like a medical experience when you go into a dispensary in Hawaii. It's like people in white smocks.
That's crazy. That's beautiful.
Yeah. So, and you had to get approved. The Hawaii just goes one extra step. The state of Hawaii checks it out that you're all registered with the Department of Health. So they will let you inside their dispensary doors, and then you can, indulge while you're there if you're medically authorized.
Well, I'll tell you this much, and I want everyone to realize, if you are in a medical state right now that is only medical, don't trip. You're going to keep your medical cannabis. All I'm saying is that the store I go to has decided to do this. I didn't really research if other stores are planning on doing this. I also just think that's the way it's going to be very soon. It's recreational. It's almost like, I don't know. I don't really know. It's like it's like going to a liquor store and having a section that you can get almost the same amount of kinds of alcohol, but for like 10%, 15, 20% less than the other side, but you don't have the same liquor all the time. Like, why are you going to have that experience? Go somewhere where you have everyone gets the same amount, the same, and even more so. You get a better choice of cannabis, and that's really all I'm looking for.
Politics as usual, or maybe not so much the elected politics, but the business of politics when it comes to dispensaries, especially. You know what I mean? Because a couple of episodes, or maybe I don't know, the last episode, I know you said it's been a few weeks. We've been missing each other, and schedules been conflicting and all kind of stuff. But we're here today. But I remember on the one we talked about where Detroit's prices were coming down, and also Denver, that area out there. Your brother was on the show here. He's not employed, which is crazy to be somebody that's got a lot of experience in an industry that you can't even get hired in. Like, wow, that's crazy if you think about it. It's like you hear a lot of people say it's tough to just get a regular job. Well, imagine being somebody in an industry where it started at that and you can't even get a job. Like, that's wild.
I think after speaking to somebody recently who was in the business, had been in the business for quite a few years on like the bud tender level, it wasn't able to move up, was being held down in specific times. I think people fail to realize that even though it's a business that you're surrounded with you're surrounded by cannabis and people who are high a lot of times, it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that you're still clocking in to do a job, and that job is attached to politics. There's a lot of hierarchy issues. There's HR issues. There's a lot of shit that basically, I think people jump in these jobs thinking I can show up baked and late and still get a raise and become this super millionaire pot worker. That's not how that shit works, man. And not to mention, they're still going through cutbacks. They're still doing this. They're doing the same shit restaurants are doing, cutting their staff and basically paying smaller groups of people a little bit more money to stay on, but work more. That's just the kind of the way it is. And I'm not saying that's the way it's going at Good Chemistry, but a lot of dispensaries work that way. And a lot of people fail to realize that it's still a business, man. And if you can't handle working in a business, don't think going to work for a cannabis shop is going to make things any easier for you, because
especially if it's a still cash operating only business. You're sitting ducks every day with a bunch of cash at your spot. You know what I mean? It's not like ain't nobody getting robbed. There's already been reports about that, especially as politics as usual, about politics and maybe certain alphabet boys targeting said such vehicles with cash in it en route. So, politics as usual for real, I guess.
Yeah, man. It's again, it's all about the business, and I'm all right. I'm all right with it 100% as long as the cannabis is still the same cannabis. It never really bothered me, but folks that are in states that are recreationally legal as well as medically legal, I think it's about time you start saying to yourself, maybe the medical, some places are maybe going to start moving out the medical part. I mean,
Hey man,
again, we
like
were
we've
the
been
first
saying,
one to
it's
go
good to have
recreational,
options. It's good to
right?
have options. Figure out where the medical folks are at. Like, both the dispensaries I use up here, Northwest Cannabis Connection. So shout out to NCC over there and Clear Choice Cannabis in Tacoma. I mean, they both honor actually my, Northwest and Puyallup is my home, where thanks to you helping me get my medical card, because
Yeah,
I was a veteran who was using it as a consumer, but on a medical tip, if you understand what I'm saying. I was still
yeah.
getting poke that at the register for all the taxes, but by getting a card, now you're not only legal with the Department of Health, but the VA also honors that, so you can share that with the VA. You're not going to lose your benefits, so don't worry about that. There's a big misconception out there that veterans that may start to use that in legal states, you're going to lose your rights. No, that's not the case. So BG's done the research here, but yeah, go get out there and get your cards, man, because it's still got some benefit.
I mean, if I'm doing the math here right now, man, what I'm walking out on recreational is like is 135 or something like that. I'm para numbering, and I'm taking off 20%, and that's still exactly what I'm paying on medical. So it's not really, it's not hitting me in the money, and it's not hitting me in the cannabis. So I 100% am backing this idea at my store because I love these guys and they've always treated with massive respect. And shout out to Jared at the social media department for getting me that email, because I completely forgot to ask for it. I even forgot to ask them, wait a minute, why are you doing this? We started getting into this deep conversation, I think maybe about Tool and a band or something, but I didn't even ask for it. Jared came through as always. Thank you so much. And he's been helping me with the drops. He's been really giving me access to some drops so I can do a lot of these strain spotlights. So that's the reason why when Good Chem makes these decisions, I know they make decisions thinking about their customers first, their clients first, their friends first. That's the way they roll. And there's a lot of dispensaries that have been around for 10, 15 years that are the exact same way, hopefully. And when these decisions are being made. So I really appreciate that they did that for me, that they at least told me. And again, they know, they're like, Bob, what's the big deal now? What is it about this that is going to bum you out? Are you going to get different weed? No. You're going to pay the same price. Yes. Win-win, dude. We're
Hey man, what's in the name, bro? I mean, what's in the name?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
good chemistry, no matter
Yes.
how you look at it, man. You know what I mean? That's great. I appreciate you sharing that story, especially bringing it to light. Because I got spooked. I started looking at, damn, is it going on up here underneath me, and I don't even know it. But definitely a lot of different ways of looking at this. So if you're in a state that's not legal right now, hold on. I mean, the tipping point is coming. They're still pushing legislation in Texas, according to y'all know I follow, and I'm also a patron at marijuanamoment.net. So I ain't just talking about it. I am about it.
Yeah.
I support marijuanamoment.net over there. Been a big time patron of them, $25 a month for like, I don't know, 5-6 years, something like that, tracking what's going on with the industry. But they didn't have anything on it over there. But damn, thank God for good chemistry. You know what I mean?
I'll tell you this much. On a side note, so 2020, when we were all locked down and freaking out, is when I started building my seed collection, because I was like, all right, I'm gonna start growing indoors. I grew outdoors most of my life. The one strain I tried to get my hands on was pre-98 Bubba Kush. It's supposed to it smells like espresso. It's skunky and coffee like. It's the most amazing cannabis I've ever had. Haven't been able to find it for years, but I got those seeds in 2020.
Wait, you said it smells like coffee?
Yeah, man.
I haven't had any of that. Then I need to try some of that.
It's really hard. First of all, finding legitimate,
get rid of the coffee altogether and just stick with the blunt. If it's coffee in a blunt, shit, you know what I mean?
Finding legitimate pre-98 Bubba Kush, which was the cannabis that Cypress Hill made popular. Finding the espresso phenotype has always been the hardest. But Good Chemistry, when it was Wellspring, 13 or so years ago, was selling this, and I fell in love with it. All of a sudden, the guy who was supplying it just took off and took them other plants, disappeared. So I cried. And then eventually I figured out a way to get these seeds. So over the last 2.5, 3 years, I've been doing a lot of different things, auto flowers. Now I'm finally able to grow some of this cannabis. I've got it sprouted right now. I've got some pre-98 Bubba Kush. I got 2 plants growing. They're only about yay big, but I'm about to document all of that. It's gonna drop on my YouTube channel. I'm doing a completely different system right now for this cannabis. It's going to have a lot to do with earthworms, a lot to do with fungus. It's going to be amazing. And if anybody's interested in learning how to grow this cannabis the easy, organic way, please follow me, Cultivating with the Cannabis Cowboy. I would totally appreciate that.
Oh boy, that build up to, I was like, insert. Now the cultivator has entered the chat. You know what I mean? I know that was right up your alley. I thought you was getting ready to talk about seeds and stuff like that. But bro, that's what I was going to ask you. Of them 6 strains that they had on there on the medical side, was any of them pre-Bubba Kush, or what strains were they?
No, so that's what I'm trying to say. That strain, that pre-98 Bubba Kush, when that cannabis was available at that store before it was called Good Chemistry and bought by Good Chemistry, even though it was always the same grow anyway, that was when you could buy cannabis from private growers and sell it at your dispensary.
Oh, wow.
So that's how
that they were like medically authorized to grow it. And because if you got a card, that's the thing. I don't
caretakers. You remember the caretaker thing and all that stuff they were asking back in the days. That's how that was. So they were able to buy, let's say, 25% of their cannabis from a non-dispensary, and the rest had to be from either your dispensary or somebody else. But that's when I was getting it back then. Unfortunately, it just wasn't. It disappeared. It was literally a guy who had it, and he just disappeared. But I know that on the medical side, it's down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and I think that's just until they phase all that out. The recreational side though has got like a lot, and they're continuously dropping. They're just dropping strain after strain every week or week and a half. I can't keep up with it. I've got a half ounce here in eighths that I have to do strain spotlights for, and they just dropped about 3 more. So they ain't slowing down. That's for damn sure, man. You got me.
That's the other thing too. I forgot to mention for veterans, like you get your medical card. I mean, I take advantage of it because of obviously documentation purposes, and also, getting that discount, like Bob said. You know what I mean? I like my stuff to stay consistent. But outside of that, if you're a cultivator, and like Bob is an expert here, not only he helped me get my card, but he grows out there himself. He's not only a guy that talks about it, he is about it. So I would encourage you to get on with his Patreon. I'm sure you could probably share that link in here, but I've been a patron of his, been a big time supporter. There was a point in time where I was just trying to get Bob to write for OAT.
Ooh. In my day, we would blog with our words. Yeah, that was a while back, man. 2016.
Like, bro, you can write, man. I want you to write for OAT. Like, you were talented, you know what I mean? And then for like a year, remember, it was like we talked about how we going to introduce weed to Cowboy fans.
Yeah, that was a challenge, man.
Yeah,
that was a big challenge, man. And we were just saying it wasn't going to work, man. It wasn't even going to work. I was like, how is
a little too optimistic, I think. Yeah, by saying it's not going to work, because we just knew that most of the crybaby Cowboy fans probably weren't going to like it. They're probably most likely the Dak haters. You know what I mean?
Yeah. and you know what? It's crazy because I sit here and as we speak, I wound up seeing that skin. Did you see that post I posted on my page about the Call of Duty skin?
Oh yeah, I think what
Dr. Kush Love or something like that. Like it's a Call of Duty skin that has, it's like a ghillie suit around his neck, but it's all weed leaves, and he's got a big bong gas mask that blows smoke out of his face. And I'm like, wow, man, like weed is mainstream at this point right now, man. Like I remember that shit. It get you banned like a year ago, or 2 years ago, or something.
Like 2 years ago, I remember buying skins on Call of Duty that were cannabis planted out, the green.
Yeah, but they never called it. They never called it cannabis, and it was vague.
Called the Joker or something like.
Yeah.
It was something else.
This is called Dr. Kush Love, and he's smoking a bong.
Something like that.
It's all over, man. But I'm saying, and it's one of those things where if it's marketable, and since it's becoming more mainstream, what I mean is if it's in COD, man, that's fiber.
As we talk about kids, because I mean, my kids, they play Call of Duty too. I think it was interesting, especially from marijuanamoment.net. Something I read over there just recently was they had shared a study that was done that they did a study on dispensaries that would open near schools to see if there would be an increase among youth with cannabis, and it was the findings were negative.
No, man, you don't know, man. I'll tell you what, man. I don't think anybody who's under the age of 18 needs to be smoking weed, man, on a regular basis, man.
But I'm just saying, like, this type of stuff is coming out, but they're trying to.
That's an old ass. That seems like one of those old wives' tales too. Like, look at that. Look at the pot shop just waiting for the kids to get out, man. Get the fuck out of here, man. It's not even federally legal.
Like, people still getting DUIs and dying and alcoholism. Hell, my grandfather died in his sleep from alcohol. So it's not like it's affected anybody I've known. But hey, I mean, I don't. I drank for a long time in the military, but after I retired and just stopped trying to get rid of that beer belly that I had, smoking helped me do that and gave me an alternative, and it's a great opportunity. So I thank you again for helping me get the card and just this whole journey. Here we are, like 2.0 square groupers, you know what I mean? Like, sky's the limit, baby.
Yeah, man. I think, and I want everyone to know that, especially people out in Florida and states that have medical that are still growing medical communities, go get your license, please. Floridians, go get a license. You're going to spend your money on weed anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just go get the effing license so that they start changing the way they allow you to buy cannabis. I don't know if you know this, but it is absolutely insane the way they make you buy cannabis as a medical patient in Florida, in South Florida. I think it's the whole state. But in South Florida.
Remember when I went down there, I went with my card thinking, because I had a good experience in Hawaii. I'm like, here we go. Let's see what Florida got. And I think I shared that here too with some folks. So I may be repeating myself here, but went down there thinking with a medical card, walked into the dispensary door, and they're like, we don't honor that here. And I'm like, what? I'm a medical patient. They're like, just in state, you have to be a resident with a card and we'll honor it. But you can't go around the corner to the Delta, whatever that is, the other alternative that you were talking about.
Yeah, you're talking about Delta 9, which can be legally sold because it's something that they don't know about. It still gives you a bit of a head change, but it doesn't get you high.
I'll just tell you, no, player.
Yeah. But the situation with this is it's just like when I think I posted something too, somebody was like, you can't buy any cannabis on the strip in Vegas. It's all CBD. It's all Delta 9 shit, but they make it look like it's weed. They give you pre-rolls of cannabis.
They get the casuals and the goofies thinking they really got something.
Yeah. But I still don't know. I still think that's something that they're gonna. No, that'll be around.
I'm glad Vegas. Like I say, I'm a Planet 13 OG, if you know what I mean.
In Florida, when you get your
medical, baby, they keep it plugged in as long as it's up to date. So when you go to check out, like, you ain't even got to show it nothing. They just add your number, pulls up your account. It's already attached to it. You ain't got to do that. You know what I mean?
Your medical license in Florida, you have to ask for specific licenses. So it breaks it into flower, concentrates, edibles, and tinctures or something like this. Okay. So you get like a percentage of that every 6 months or some weird shit. So I'm not sure if you can ask for just flower. I think it's whatever they give you. And that could mean that if you're someone who just smokes flower, you're only going to get like 40% of that flower. The rest is going to be concentrates and gummies that you'll never wind up buying. So the reason why I want people to start jumping on board and talking about this is because it needs to be tweaked. It happens like this in all the new states where you get a medical cannabis program. They all think that they have the best way of doing it, but the way they're doing it in Florida is insane and ass backwards. And it's causing people to not know until they get it to the dispensary that they have run through their allotted amount of cannabis and they need to go re-up their license, which is a pain in the ass. A couple of my friends have had to do that. So if you're out in Florida, please continue to try and get a med card out there, simply because the black market is not going to be there forever. And eventually you're going to want to make sure that you're getting it and not having to worry about getting locked up for it.
No, I thought Florida was the education state.
I'm not making any,
baby.
Good God, man. Yeah. So anyway, that's that. I mean, I panicked when I heard that it was going away, but I think maybe I had made all these assumptions. The fact of the matter is it just doesn't make business sense. It's going away like punch cards go away, or like, eventual BOGOs and stuff like that. They're gonna run through that medical inventory, and then I'm gonna still be paying medical prices on the recreational side. It doesn't seem to me like they're telling me stop getting your med card. That's not what they're telling me. They're just telling me that I'm not going to wait in line on only a medical side with only one register open and a limited menu. They're going to give me a medical discount on the recreational side, which again, I'm down with.
It's always good.
Yeah,
saving money, baby, especially veterans. You know what I mean? So go get your cards in a legal state. Look into it. If you got questions, you can DM me here personally. Hit me up if you know me. If you're friends with me on Facebook. My Instagram's having a little problem right now, so don't try to hit me up on there. But yeah, hit me there. Like I already lost.
Don't try.
They already lost OAT over there. I was mad. I had a little bag over there with the reels. I was really mad when they shut OAT down. And then they over there trying to get me on my Cowboys uniform one now. And I'm just like, damn, like nobody wants me on Instagram. But anyway, shout out to Instagram. But yeah, send me a DM and I'll answer any questions. Like I said, Bob helped me get onto that. We'll give you some resources and help you along the way. And like I said, I would encourage you. There's one thing I don't do is grow, and that's yet. But you know, we've been growing in a sense, but growing literally in a sense, like growing your own plants because you have a medical card. Get with my guy. Like I said, he shared his Patreon link here. To teach you how to do all of that, save you the time, save you the money, and a hard hassle of making mistakes along the way.
Yeah, man, it ain't as hard as you think. I mean, it's crazy how it's just like anything else. The more cannabis got popular, the more people started saying, "Hey, we can sell them this and tell them that their weed grows." Man, people were growing 50-foot weed plants 100 years ago.
Well, until somebody doesn't know how to do a light and like it falls on their plant or something.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Hey, he ain't watching anyway. That seemed like a wasted joke, but I liked it.
No. It's just I'm saying. I was like, but no, exactly. For people that are watching, yeah, you need a good guy that's gonna be able to mentor you. Somebody, especially if you're new in the game. Like I said, that just kind of organically, pun intended, happened with him helping me with my car because I was telling him like I'm paying this high ass taxes for all this shit. I was sharing with him prices on what was going on, and I was like, wow, you can save money by doing that.
Yep. You're almost like, why not? Why not? Yeah, I can also help you folks with beans if you need genetics. All that stuff is completely legal now, by the way. It's a wonderful thing. So anyway, yeah, I appreciate everybody tuning in today. We had this kind of idea about what we wanted to talk about, and that kind of fell by the wayside. And then this happened to me over the last week, and we were like, all right, well, we got to talk about this and find out if it's going to be affecting everybody. I don't think it actually is, but it's something that I'm going to deal with, and it doesn't look like it's going to be that big of a hit on my pocket. So,
well, it's a good healthy discussion, especially for folks that don't know. And when you talk about the education state, like everything is about education. So get educated on cannabis. A lot of folks down in Texas, man, y'all got them notifications. Them notifications. Y'all got to turn them notifications on down there. Notifications for us regular folk, but my Texas folk, they like to talk weird. That notifications, turn the notifications on down there. Texas got to get with it, baby, because when Texas legalizes, I believe the rest of the country legalizes. As Texas goes, the nation goes. So turn on the notifications down there. Y'all get with it and get into discussion with us here.
It's a big ass state. All right, folks, y'all have a great night. Thanks so much. Watch us next week. We should have something going on. Maybe not. We'll let y'all know. But there's something. It seems like everything's changing every week. We're getting good news. We're doing a lot of stuff. So
at least we're in the gym, right?
Yeah, we're doing something. So as always, folks,